In this video, I'm going to tell you the two reasons why most guys do not have the dating life that they actually want. And once you fix these two things, you will be able to start going out there confidently, approaching girls, starting conversations, and actually getting the dates that you actually want to get. So that every single weekend, if you want to, you can have options with the type of girls you really want and actually have girls start texting you back and wanting to meet up with you and hopefully want to become your girlfriend. Now, the main reason that most guys don't have the dating life they want is actually not because they don't know how to build attraction, not because they don't have the right techniques or the perfect thing to use to make a girl into them. It's simply because they don't have any momentum in their life. You see, what happens is most guys are comparing themselves to someone who has momentum for hundreds of days. The guy who's just going out there and socializing every single day for 15, 20 minutes bare minimum, that guy is in so much social momentum that it's just so easy for him to start talking to people. And because of that, he has a lot more options with people simply because he has way more quantity of interactions. Whereas you're waiting for the, oh, when I see that one girl, I'm going to finally go and approach her. Or you're desperately clinging on to that one match that you got on Tinder or Bumble or Hinge. And you're just really desperately hoping this one interaction works out instead of actually relying on momentum to get you the thing you want. Because momentum solves the majority of problems that you're going to face. I remember a time in my life when, I was going out a lot and I wasn't even really that good at dating. I just was putting myself out there, just throwing myself into the mix. And as a result, you just naturally become better. Your skill level just grows simply because you're just in so much momentum, so much flow that it just becomes easy. You ultimately figure it out and you realize the techniques and the tactics don't really matter that much because you were talking to so many people. Now, obviously, you can work on some of the stuff and watch videos and improve yourself and obviously get your skill better. But the one thing I look for in my coaching clients when I work with them is like, do they actually have that ability to just like, without any tactics, without anything they have at all, are they willing to just like throw themselves into the mix? If I tell them to go out and approach 5 girls tonight, are they going to go and do it without any tactics at all? If I give them nothing, no crutch, no nothing to hold on to, are they willing to do it? If not, I don't want them as a coaching client because what that tells me is they're waiting for the perfect line, the perfect moment, the perfect thing, which just doesn't exist. I want someone who's willing to just throw themselves out there and isn't worried about the fear of judgment or what's going to happen as a result of what you go and do. Which kind of leads me into the next point, which is the other reason why most guys don't have the life they want is because they're so worried about what people are going to think of them. They have this fear of judgment and what people are going to perceive about them. And so what they're doing is they're filtering who they actually are when they're talking to people, if they're even talking to people at all. They're filtering who they really are and not authentically expressing themselves because they're worried about what it's going to mean. You see, the mind is a meaning making machine. It's constantly looking to create meaning out of things. What does this mean when this happens? If someone says this or I approach in this way and this happens, what does that mean about who I am? If I get rejected, does that mean that I'm like not good enough or I'm a loser or people don't like me? You're so worried about how people are perceiving you that you're not even willing to put yourself out there. And ultimately, as a result of that, you're not allowing someone else to reject you, which I don't even really consider it rejection, but you're rejecting yourself. You're like, I don't even want to put myself out there at all because I don't believe that I'm good enough. So I'm going to reject myself instead of allowing other people to reject you, which again, it really isn't rejection. It just means that you don't connect. And ultimately, not everyone's going to agree with you. Not everyone's going to like you. And this desire to make everyone like you is the exact reason why you're not going out there in the first place and why you're afraid to put yourself out there because you're worried about what they're going to think of you. And you want everyone to like you because your identity is so wrapped up in and so attached to who you are and what that means. And if people like me, then I'm going to be good enough and that means I must be a good person and society likes who I am. Why do you have this reasoning and feeling and this desire to want everyone to like you? Because that is really what's stopping you from, one, having the first thing which is the momentum problem. If you just went out there and started talking to multiple people every single day, just a few conversations, that would start to stack. And the more that you do that, the more that it happens, the easier it is. This is the reason why most successful people are really scared to go on vacation, because they have so much momentum that they're worried about going and taking a break, because when they come back, it's like, damn, I got to start from scratch again. It's kind of like trying to move a train. If the train is just sitting still and it has no momentum, it's like so hard to get it moving. But once you get the train moving, it's very easy to wake up the next day and just keep pushing the train because it already has some momentum behind it. So the reason why you're struggling is because you'll go out for 1 week or maybe even a few days because you're motivated. Maybe you watch one of my videos or there's some motivational video, or maybe you're scrolling social media and you see some guy with those, Ray-Ban glasses and they're doing the POV, oh, I approached this girl, whatever. And now you're like, oh, I'm going to go try that. So you get excited. You do it one time, doesn't work. Why? Because you haven't been building the skill. You have no idea how to even talk to people. And also you have all this shit that's blocking you from freely expressing who you really are. So of course they're going to reject you. And then what happens? You give up and you're like, I'm not going to do that again. And you wait until motivation strikes again. Then you finally decide to do it again. And you get rejected again. And the same pattern and cycle repeats. Instead of thinking, how can I detach myself from wanting this outcome? And how can I build the momentum and stack the skills that I ultimately need to get the result that I want? When you detach yourself from that outcome and you focus on the process and focus on putting a system in place and you get the momentum behind you, then it's like pushing the train. It's very easy. The hard part is when you're stopping and starting. So if you make it a habit to like, okay, every single day I'm going to go out for 15, 20 minutes and talk to people, or bare minimum, just put yourself into an environment where a social interaction could happen. For example, when you get off work, instead of going home and watching Netflix, why don't you go to a coffee shop, or why don't you go to like some meetup event? One thing that I think is really cool is, my wife that I have, when she was trying to meet people, she was going out a lot. Like she was in New York and she was going to an event like every day, sometimes multiple events every single day because she wanted to meet the right person. So what did she do? She put herself in environments where that can happen. So instead of putting yourself in an environment where you just go home all day and just do nothing, why don't you put yourself in these social environments? And even if it's just for an hour a day, you get off at 5, you come home, you eat at 6, you go to an event at 6, from 6 to 7, then you come home. You still have time. What is that, like 3 hours to still do everything else you want to do? But ultimately, how are you expecting to change your life and change your dating life and your situation if you're not changing anything you're doing? If you're just swiping till your thumbs fall off and hoping some girl is going to magically fall in your fucking lap, or like some hot girl is going to knock on your door and be like, hey, I really want to date you. It's just not going to happen. It's not in the realm of possibility because you're not even putting yourself out there. So ultimately, the first thing you need to do is start getting momentum. But in order to even get that momentum, you have to stop blocking yourself and stop having all these meanings that you're creating out of things where you're thinking that, oh, if I approach this way, it means this. And if this person rejects me, it means this. You have to get that out of there and ultimately realize that not everyone is going to think the same way you think. And that's okay. And when you remove all that stuff that's blocking you from fully expressing who you are, then everything else just works out in the way it should. So if you want to learn more about the exact tactics, or you want some, frameworks to rely on, keyword frameworks, not exact tactics or exact things to say, but if you want a solid foundation or steps for how to approach and what to say and to, give you a little bit of, training wheels, for example, I have a program called Beyond Attraction. You can learn more about it by clicking the link in the bio. And if you want help with all this and you want to accelerate your results and you want personal coaching, you can book a call with me and my team and fill out a few questions and we'll talk more there. So go ahead and do that. And again, your goal is to go out and start talking to people, putting yourself in social environments where things can actually happen, and start changing your life in small steps. Just get the snowball rolling. I remember a time in my life where I really wanted to lose weight, And I knew that if I started trying to force myself to go to the gym, I was going to do it for like maybe a week and then quit. So I made it very simple. I was like, all right, I'm going to go for a walk every single day for 20 minutes. And I did that for like a week. And then after a week, it was very easy. So then I was like, well, all right, cool. Let's, keep the snowball rolling. And I'm going to like go out and, walk around for 30 minutes the next week. And then after that, I did 40 minutes. And after that, I started going to the gym because now I was like motivated. I was inspired. I had momentum because my identity started to change. I started becoming this person who is going out and fixing themselves. And so then I started going and doing the stair climber every day for 20 minutes. And then eventually I did 25 minutes. And next week, 30 minutes. And then I started lifting and then I started eating better because as a result, I'm like, I don't want to eat bad because I'm sitting here doing all this stuff. The problem is most guys, when they want to change something about their life, they're creating such a huge amount of expectation of what they should be doing. They're trying to like, oh, I'm going to go like work out for 2 hours. I'm going to go talk to girls. I'm going to do all these things. And of course, once you lose motivation after like a few days, you're not going to do it. So make the goal small, even if it's like a laughable goal, like it's something you would think is like so tiny, like what's the point of doing it? Just do it to get the momentum. And then as a result of that, you're going to start to feel better and who you are is going to start to pull through. And that's what's going to allow you to stack the momentum and start to actually feel good about yourself and change your life. So go ahead and do that. And I'll see you in the next video.